Good evening, everyone. It's 8 p.m. UK time, 9 p.m. Central European time on a Sunday, so you know what that means. Another ESC Fan TV show where we do another show dissecting what has happened in the week and last night on the road to Liverpool. And since we spoke to you last, we have 4 new songs for Eurovision 2023, and we're going to talk about a few of them tonight. As always, if you want to get involved, please leave us a comment. If you're watching us live, we'd love all your comments. And if you're watching it back, leave a comment in the comment section as well. And like the show and all that fun stuff, and follow us on our social media. So let's meet our panel for this evening. You can see them all there, lovely. But let's start with my co-host, Stuart. How are you, Stuart, this evening?
Hello, Elliot. Yeah, doing very well, thank you very much. Ready for a bumper crump show full of stuff that we're talking about. I can't even remember what we're talking about tonight. I think it's going to be a lot because we are officially in Eurovision season now, aren't we? So there is stuff happening all the blooming time.
Yes, we are. And as you say, just below that, and we have Phil and Michelle, who are, looks like an homage to the Northwest at the moment. Are you in Blackpool this week?
Yeah, I don't really know why. I think we just need to get some more backgrounds, really. For
basically, I painted the wall green and didn't realise we needed more things behind us. But in homage to Spain, no, it's there. We're in Blackpool, Costa del Blackpool.
Guys, leave in the comments what sort of backgrounds Phil and Michelle should have. Keep them clean, but what Eurovision-related background should they have for the season? We'll get them sorted out. Hopping across, we have Tristan. How are you doing this evening, Tristan?
Yeah, I'm fine. My heart is beating flamenco.
And so if that's not something, I don't know what is. And then let's move up to Sweden. Let's start in Malmö. We have Jeanette. How are you?
Hi, everyone. I'm doing all right. It was a busy night last night. So I've listened to a lot of songs and there's a lot to say about it, good and bad, mostly bad. But we have to do it. So it's going to be a blast tonight.
Yeah, if you're expecting like a happy, like, you know, running through a fields show, maybe not. And then we move up to Stockholm. Gustav, how are you? Is this the first show you've been on this year, Gustav? I can't remember.
No. How could you forget about me? I was on 2 weeks ago.
Well, you don't reply to my messages, so that's why.
Of course I don't reply to your messages. Anyway, hi everyone. I am so happy to be here, even though yesterday was rough.
And finally, as you can see, we have a special guest this evening, all the way from ESC Insight, and who was at Benidorm Fest last night and has got a plane back to Stockholm this morning. We have Ben. How are you doing, Ben?
Not good.
Yeah, if you think you guys had it rough, I think I might win in that game. But have a nice little debrief, calm down, away from the noise. I tell you what, that arena in Benidorm held about 2,000 people. It could have been 20,000. I've never seen Eurovision fans as passionate and as loud in my life. Brilliant.
I say we'll get into more of that with you, Ben, when we get onto Benidorm Fest, because I say you were invited out there by the delegation and the event itself, and it looked like a lot of fun, if not absolutely knackering. But you're alive and you got home safely. That's the main thing. But let's just crack straight on, and we're going to start with the one show last night which didn't have selecting its song, but it was the start of it. 6 weeks of Melodifestivalen, yet Sweden's big juggernaut show has finally started. It was in Göteborg or Gothenburg if you're not Swedish, and we had 7 acts, 4 advanced in some format, 3 went home, and let's just rip the bandage off now. For a first semi-final, it was a weak heat as a collective. Semi-final 1 is normally known as like the big names and the big hitters come out strong. And we had some big names in there. Several people have been to Eurovision before, even more who've made at least the final. And it wasn't the best show, was it? Let's just be honest. Let's just see. And my panel from that face alone just agree. But let's start with the 3 that didn't advance. So we have got Ava and Ava, Lulu Lamotte and Rayhan. Now, obviously, Lulu Lamotte has won Melodifestivalen, and it's her 4th time involved, but it's her first time as a soloist. Ava and Ava, who competed in 2021 with the fantastic song Ring Rang a Ding Dong, and this, I don't even know what I'm looking at right now. And Rayhan, the debutant, who was only 16 years of age. Unfortunately, we will not be seeing any 3 of them again. Gustav, were there any of these 3 you were sad to see go last night?
Well, listen. When I listen to Haunted, I actually quite enjoy it, which is a surprise to absolutely no one on this panel or anyone who's watching us. However, I did not find it very good on stage, and I need to stop thinking about him being 16, because no 16-year-old have those feelings of that song. It's just, what it is. I personally voted for Lulu, and I have had that song on my brain all day today, which has been really, really fucking annoying. So those two I liked. I just wanted the old ladies to go off stage like 30 seconds after they started. Yeah.
What's not to love about a swing-tastic pair of aunts who've had too much wine and look like they just rolled through a haberdashery on stage?
What is to love about it?
Well, I enjoyed their performance. I didn't say I wanted to go further, but it was fantastic. It was brilliant. Phil, Michelle, of these three, was there anything that stood out? Because obviously Gustav has said about a no 16-year-old should have those feelings. But we've got to remember, Bishara came second with a very similar song when he was 15. Still creepy. But it's like with Haunted, like the song didn't go anywhere. The old women, it was just a bit fantastic. And Lulu Lamotte is just your typical Swedish woman in a big flowy dress. I expected more of a wind machine, to be honest. That's the only thing that was missing. But with any of these three that you actually were positive about?
I don't know what's wrong with you, Elliot. Why would you not like? Why would you not like the Melfest nuns?
I mean, the Melfest grands, aren't they? They've been on the sherry. Somebody's given them a microphone, and they're up there.
I am so gonna be like that.
Top night at karaoke.
Later on the night, I am so gonna be like that. Oh, they're bloody brilliant. They keep coming back. What's not to like? I say, stick it on the stage in Liverpool. You won't see anything else like it.
It was fun. He's never going to go anywhere, but it was fun. Rayhan, he looked like he was 16 and 40 at the same time. It was weird. But
I thought he looked like the kid off the Wonder Years, with the big glasses. I thought he looked like him. There's one for the youth.
It was. You're right. It just didn't go anywhere. That song. You just sort of plodded along.
It just went on and on.
Yeah.
Exactly the same all the way through.
Lulu Lamotte's song wasn't for me. She's got a great voice, don't get me wrong. But that was another one that I didn't really like the song. It was like every syllable was like exactly one beat, it sounded a bit odd.
She sang it with a lot of passion. She really, really meant it. And I loved her dress and everything, but there was just really nothing about it. It just wasn't going anywhere, which was a real shame because she's got a good set of lungs on her. She needs a better song.
Yeah, I must admit, when I heard Lulu's song, I was somewhat disappointed because it's like she can sing. Like she did it with John Lundvik. She's done it twice with the Mummy. She's a phenomenal singer. The song was just a bit of a letdown. It sounds like it's something that you'd write for Shirley Clamp or Sonia Aldine, like that sort of generation. And then they gave it to Lulu this year. Ben, so obviously coming to you now, because the last few years, if you want to know, Ben has been very fortunate being able to listen to the songs in the media pen for SVT. So you hear these on the Tuesday before the heat. Although say you're out in Benidorm Fest, when you heard the studios of these in their entirety, were there any of these three that you thought would have actually advanced within the top four? Or were these the three that you thought would be dropping out?
I think this heat here, I suspect the noise between 4th and 7th is quite tight, actually. So, I could have imagined, I'd been more surprised for Rayhan. I know he'd actually finished a bit higher, but I think he kind of hit his limit with the points. He got quite a few ones from what I saw. Sadly, here's the state of things when it comes to song contests. When you have shows that are quite weak, the consensus is it was a weak Melodifestivalen heat. I would agree with that, especially for a heat one. It's a very weak show. Then what you kind of have is those that are either big names or are well sung and performed do well. Song-wise, I wouldn't have much difference between what Lulu brings to the table, but it's very Swedish sound that, compared to what Victor Kroner's brought. But I actually think Victor Kroner, there was something about the way he use his voice. He put a bit more range into his voice, I think, in this show compared to what we know from previously. And that's kind of thing in, weak songs, weak heats, that there's a difference. He was very comfortable third place in the end. But, surely as the weeks go on, it's going to be better than this. It's going to be better than having the main story of Melodifestivalen be whatever happened or not to Thomas Gerson in the green room. Like, that staged drama is the biggest story right now, and it's not even a good story. It's going to get better, or I dare say, it's the beginning of the end of Melfest being number one in that community.
So one can only hope. So you've got a few big more names to come in the competition, such as Victoria and Malia and Loreen, obviously. So hopefully it can only get better. Do you know, as you said, like the bottom three were only one mark split the bottom three, but Rayhan, for example, got a 10 and an 8. So there was appeal there. But why do you think these three fell? Because you said if we go on Melfest, normally if you've got a name and you've got a backing, you can advance. So surely, in that sense, Lulu should have at least maybe got 4th, but she still was a good 10 points away from advancing. Say, what do you think just happened with these three songs?
Well, let's just start from the beginning. Everyone loves Melfest. It's going to be a long talk now, but I think it's going down with the Melfest, unfortunately, and MGP is going to take over. Just the intro of the whole Melfest with all the clowns and acrobats and stuff, already there I knew this is going to be a shit show. And I was right. It was one of the worst things I've ever seen in Melfest. And I love Melfest. Don't get me wrong, I love it. But this was awful and painful to see. And I almost feel ashamed of being Swedish. Eva and Eva, what can I say? No, it's not happening. You don't have to come back. Lulu, I feel a bit sad for her because she has a good voice and I think she deserved maybe a second chance or semi-final as it is now. And then we have Rayhan, he's just a bit young. I think if he comes back in a few years, there's good opportunities for him. He's a passionate young kid, and with a good song, he could have a future in Melodifestivalen. But it was too early for him, and the song there was nothing. It was just nothing happened. So that's what I think about the bottom three. Not much to be happy about.
Oh,
so,
hope you can get a bit better. It's all right. And Tristan, just quickly, just round out the bottom three. Were there any sort of standouts for you in this, just very quickly?
No, they weren't at all. In fact, for change, my bottom three didn't get through, which I'm quite happy about.
Okay, then, and we will leave them there as they will stay for the rest of the contest. And now let's just move on into the top four. Let's speed up a bit. So we have Elov and Benny coming 4th, and therefore advancing. Victor Corona advancing with diamonds. And then Tunis Achilles coming 2nd with Rhythm of My Show, and Jon Henrik Flauglen winning the first vote, but with Ark North featuring Adam Woods. And if anyone didn't know, Ark North is the DJ, Adam Woods is the singer. And somehow Jon Henrik is the lead on that song, even though he does very little. So, as a collective of these 4 songs, so let's go back to you first. Did the right 2 go through direct to final, and did the right 2 go through to the second chance semi-final?
Yes, absolutely. My favorite of the night was Jon Henrik and all the other people that I won't remember their names. That was the moment when me and my friends actually stopped chatting with each other and actually looked at the whole performance. It was probably the best of the night, and it really deserved to go through. I wasn't sure about Tune, to be honest. I don't like that song as much as I like her song from the previous year. But it was a good show. I quite enjoyed it. I don't care much for Elov and Benny because they are like everything that is wrong with Sweden in 3 minutes. But I guess they deserve to go through as well. Yeah.
Fair enough. Sure, let's bring you on this. Obviously, so Jon Henrik won the heat, but like I said, he did very little. It's very much what you see in artists where a DJ is a name featuring the singer. And I feel like Adam Wood should be the lead on that song because he does most of the work in that. But obviously, I don't think they can have a situation where Jon Henrik has a competitive entry where he's not the lead on it. Was that the best song of the night? And also, what the hell was going on with that stage where that martial arts woman appeared, then rolled through the fog, and then they start dancing, and she does like a swan dive across the stage? Like, there was a lot happening in those 3 minutes. Or wasn't like a giant crystal maze thing? A lot happening.
Yeah, and that's a lot as well. So
you expect me to give you simple stuff?
Yeah, let me try and break that one down. So, first off, to answer your question, were they the top two, and should they have gone through? I think absolutely yes. When I first started watching Melfest last night, I thought, normal production, looks exactly the same as last year. And then you start hearing the songs. I thought the first song tonight was a good pop song. By the way, it's great to see Lena Phillipson back on Melfest. No, only joking. Tony looked beautiful last night. But it was a really good song, performed really well. And actually, in comparison to the other 6 songs, it was without question my favourite last night. I thought it was brilliant. And she was brilliant last year. She was brilliant again last night. And Jon Henrik Fahlgren's song, again, finished the night off with a bang. It was, in my opinion, the second best song of the night, although they ironically beat Tony's song. But I thought that song will do very, very well in the final. I think it's very digestible for the normal Eurovision fan, the normal Melfest fan. But I do think overall, though, they were the 2 standout songs because it was generally quite a weak semi-final in Sweden. But those 2, no doubt, will take their place in the final and will stand out pretty decent. But I can't see any winner from last night, to be perfectly honest. But I look down the list of artists that are coming in the semi-finals: Victoria, Lorraine, Tios. I think there's some really good artists coming. I just think maybe, just maybe, it was one of those semi-finals that just all the songs which weren't going to work found their way into it. So hopefully from next week we'll get a better semi-final.
Thank you. So, Ben, obviously, Jon Henrik won the semi-final, and we know that because he won the first round of voting. They were directly through. They didn't have to go through the second round with all the different demographics. Was Jon Henrik's song the best song last night, and does that have the best chance of winning Melodifestivalen so far?
Oh, so far, absolutely. If you've won the first heat, you're going to be the favourite so far of the lot of them. I can also see this having quite good jury potential as well. So it could get scores on both sides. That said, I think there's an expectation that there will be something else coming through. If you had to stick a gun to my head right now, Jon Henrik comes third in the Melodifestivalen final.
Okay, that's normally where he finishes anyway. Somewhere between second and third, isn't it? Jeanette, let's come across to you. So obviously I said Jon Henrik won, and then it looked like it was going to be quite close between Torna and Victor. After the first 2 votes, they both got a 12, and then Rhythm of My Show just kind of took every other 12 and ran away with it. Why do you think that was? Why do you think Rhythm of My Show had such a demographic appeal over Diamonds last night?
I think Tuna is very likable. I like her. She's sweet and has a lot of empathy. She comes around as a really, really lovely person. And I think people are very attracted to it. This performance, I was not impressed by it. The song is okay. Chorus line is fine. But, in the beginning, I could hardly hear what she was singing. So there's some things that needs to be worked on. But overall, it was like pretty good staging, and but it wasn't like super. But it's still early, anything can happen, but it's not going to win. None of these songs is going to win, because if any of these songs win, I will never do this panel show again. That's a promise. And Victor, well, he looks amazing, of course. Not one of his best songs, but when you compare it to the things we heard last night, it was one of the better songs. So I'm happy he's in the semi-final. hopefully he will be in the final. And then we had, who else did we have?
Elof and Benny.
Jon Henrik. Oh, don't know. No. Why? Every year it's the same procedure. It's the yoik, 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 and something else. And he's in the final. I knew it. He didn't even have to go on stage. I knew he's going to be in the final. It's not a good song. And the other singer is not good, and the drummer is not good. There's nothing about it that's good. So I don't understand why the Swedish people vote him to the final every freaking year. What's wrong with you?
I get a feeling she's not a fan of the song, guys. I don't know why. So, Phil, Michelle, let's come to you on these 4 songs. And Stuart has just said in the private chat that Elof and Benny were reminiscent of the B-52s. Did it take you back to a vibe with the B-52s? Because I don't know what sort of B-52 song that would be if it was.
There's no Rock Lobster or Planet Claire. That no, it's not B-52s for me.
There's a moon in the sky called the moon.
I like the B-52s.
Yeah.
But it was just a bit dated and old. It was nice enough. Nice to have some whistling.
I put it wasn't nice to have some whistling. No.
Ooh,
No.
Bit of Roger Whittaker. There's one for you.
It's shit. No.
Yeah, the Where Are You, Jon Henrik song. He was like Keno off Wish, wasn't it?
It was a shit Keno, and if you're not going to do better than Keno, don't do Keno at all.
Yeah, I liked Tona, but you didn't, did you? I thought it was quite a good beat. You know, it was a bit of a stomper. It worked all right on stage.
I just thought they blew the budget on the dancers and then went, no, just do black and red, it'll be fine.
And Victor Krone's song.
Jesus.
I thought it sounded like it was somebody had plugged all the Swedish songs into an AI generator and generated an AI Eurovision song. It was like every cliche was tacked into that chorus.
In the first line, he rhymed I with sky.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't have eyes because it didn't rhyme with sky.
So
and it was at that point it lost me, and I thought, you're on a hiding to nothing. It's shit.
Yeah, I think Tona was the best of the bunch, but as everyone's saying,
I agree with Tona as the best of the bunch.
It wasn't a great start to Melfest.
No, I think Victor Krone. Because I've heard from Jeanette wonderful things. I thought this is. I like a bit of eye candy. I thought, here we go. He's got the John Travolta trousers on. Let's have a bit of Saturday Night Fever. And it was a shocker. And then the rhymes from that, I could have written a better song than that. It was a shocker.
And I think if you've been to Eurovision for a country, that should be your country, and you shouldn't be able to pick and choose. You know, it should be stuck with Estonia now.
Yeah, I can't remember legitimately how he got to represent. So I think he was living there at the time, and that's how he was able to compete in SC Lao. I can't remember the full mathematics, but also in that song, he rhymed this with this in Storm. Let's remember the lyrics of Storm were not great. Sorry, Joe. I know you're probably watching. We watch this back, and you're a huge Victor Krone fan, but we know that wasn't a good song. Tristan, round this out for these 4. Did the right 2 go through? Did the right 2 go to the semi-final? Can Victor or Elof and Benny make it to the final? What do you think of these 4?
Well, yes. My top 2 were the 2 that went straight to the final. So, and I wasn't that enamored with any of them. And I think my favourite was probably Jon Henrik's song, just because it actually was quite fun to watch. And yes, quite right. It's like a cheap Kano. And Tone, great song. I actually preferred it to My Way last year. But yeah, I mean, it was quite a sort of a not very inspiring show. I don't think the semi-finalists have a chance of getting through, but then again, we haven't heard the other 8 yet. How many they're going to be? So I don't know. I just think yeah, the top 2 went through, but I'm not really that enamored with any of them. I'm glad that we have all the other ones to watch live on a Saturday night.
Yeah, just round us out. Torna was my favourite, but I do love her. And like I said, it's got that 8-count Latin beat, which is very catchy and sticks in your head. So that's how I think she got through, because it's instantly catchy. I would have actually put Victor through over Jon Henrik last night. I I just think the song was better. I like a country pop song, Gustav, and look, I can't help it. At least he's not singing about weather and water this time, because he loves singing about the elements, and at least he wasn't this time. Let's take what we can get. But like I said, that's the first semi-final done and dusted. Just 21 songs to go, guys. But as Stuart always says, you only need one in a selection to be a standout, and hopefully there's one in there somewhere, hopefully from Victoria. So let's just move straight on to Spain and Benidorm Fest, and they have selected their artist. We had 3 fantastic shows over Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday night. We kind of knew going into this, after the semi-finals, it'd be a straight shootout between Blanca Paloma and Agane, and that is what happened, with Blanca Paloma coming out victorious with the song Ea Ea. She is Spain's representative for Eurovision this year. And yeah, Ben, let's come to you first, because you were out there this week. Firstly, as I say, people don't know, Ben was very kindly invited along some other sites to go out there and cover the event on behalf of Visit Benidorm. It was about a week-long, almost like contracts, doing a lot of stuff, seeing the rehearsals and all those sorts of lovely things. And if you didn't see it, it's on all their social media. From the start, when you were there and you saw Blanca's Paloma's rehearsal on the Thursday, did that feel like the winner?
I have never, ever witnessed a rehearsal like it in my life. I tell you now, I hope all of you get tickets for Liverpool. If it's for a rehearsal or whatever, go, because the wall of noise and the polyphonics and the harmonies and all the stuff that goes on sonically in this track is something that I want you all to witness. It's mind-blowing. It's great down the television as well, but I tell you what, in the hall, because there's a few people saying Blanca might have had a chance, but it was very under the radar. It was an outsider going into Thursday, and I've never seen not only that reaction, that mesmerizing feel for all of us that were there, but that we all felt it. While I was there, we're not allowed at Benidorm Fest. I find this quite strange. We're not allowed to comment on what happens in rehearsals. We're allowed to go to rehearsals, and we're allowed to say what's good or not good and what we feel about it, but we can't describe, oh, they have a red dress, they are walking up, you can't give anything away from the show. It's a very strange. Anyway, moving on. So I thought, what can I do? Right, I'll do a press poll. So as every journalist walked out of the arena, I stopped and asked them. And I tell you, not only were they telling me, they were shouting from the other side of the hall towards me because it was so obvious. I've never, such an absolute certainty that was the one. I think on that day, Blanca gets 68 out of 70-something journalists. It was an absolute landslide. It was the right song to send for Spain. Absolutely.
Right. Okay, Tristan, let's come to you. As you said, Blanca, I wasn't a big fan of the song, but I will admit on Thursday night, the staging did make me go, oh, wow. She is clearly elevated, in my mind, a mediocre song.
Yep.
Will that translate in Liverpool? Because obviously we've now got to take it out of Spain where people know the lyrics and the very rooted culture of the song and the style of song and the lyrics, and she's now got to do it to an international audience. Can that still carry through?
Absolutely. I mean, I think we've seen in the past how songs that are quite sort of ethnic, people think, oh, that's not going to translate well. They do. We look at Albania's Sus, which did really well. Even Goe's song from a few years ago, a couple of years ago, did really well, came 5th. And that's sort of like ethnic. It's something quite different. People are thinking, oh, what's all that? But it still translates. And this is such a powerful performance. It's just amazing to look at. She's got an amazing voice. It was my favourite. Right up until the show was Mi Familia for Sanocta, but this just won me over. I just thought this is just fantastic. I love it. I think I've put money on it to win. And I put an each way bet on it as well. I think the odds are pretty good. I've seen 27 to 1, 28 to 1. I think it's definitely worth an each way bet. and it's just amazing. And what an amazing show! And it's a really good thing for Benidorm Fest because it means that next year we're going to have diversity again in the Benidorm Fest. Had it been Agoné, who was great, but had Agoné won, next year I think it would have got mainly dance acts because that's 2 dance acts in a row. This has now shown established artists that good proper music, and it is good proper music. I'm not saying I like the dance stuff as well, but that doesn't appeal to a large amount of the population. Good sort of proper, well sung songs with people who are really singing and not using autotune or backing tracks can win. So it's just brilliant for the future of Benidorm Fest. I'm so happy. Definitely next year I want to get over there and watch it if I can get tickets.
I'm sure you will, Tristan. Stuart, let's come to you because you made it no secret last year you were a big Blanca Paloma fan. She was your winner last year. You loved her. Ecstatic she came back. And now she's going to Eurovision. Firstly, how thrilled are you to say this artist not only returned but went and won it? And what can the song do in Liverpool?
So I loved Spain's song last year. Sorry, Chanel was outstanding, and it had the best performance. But I've always felt Blanca Paloma's vocal was the best of Benidorm Fest last year, and always felt she got a bit of a raw deal, finishing as low as she did in the final. Phenomenal singer, by the way. Go and check out her back catalogue. She is incredible, and it's great to hear Ben his comments on how she sounded in rehearsal and how she sounded in the hall. It's no surprise. She doesn't put a note wrong. She really is such a professional and such an incredible vocalist. And there's a lot of people out there now that are not Spanish that are saying that this song won't necessarily work for the international audience. Now that's possible. That's possible. It's a song which you're either going to love and get, or you're perhaps not, and maybe you won't vote for it. So who knows what happens in Liverpool in May. But I have to say, I agree entirely with both Tristan and Ben. I think this is an exquisite entry for Spain. I think it's really phenomenal. It's very well staged. It's great to hear that style of music in Eurovision. And I'm delighted for her. She desperately wanted to go last year. She didn't make it. She's finally got the ticket. And another good one in this year's selection. May not be everyone's favourite, but it is an incredibly good song.
Thank you, Stuart. So, Gustav, you love a woman who can do a bit of a shout and a bit of a ballady thing. And this is not a ballad, but it's still one with a big vocal. And so she won the televote. She won the jury. Televote was closer than I think people expected. Where does this song sit with you? And is this a song that you would vote for in the final?
Well, do you want the honest answer or should I be nice?
Be honest.
I hate this. I cannot listen to this. After 30 seconds, I take it. I just can't. It's too noisy for me. It's too much of a vocal for me, I think, and I am just so bored by it. It's seriously. I think it's my last place of all the songs right now that are selected, and there are some bad songs selected. And yeah, you asked for my honest opinion, and there you have it.
Look, we can't pretend like all 37 songs we're going to gel and vibe with. So why pretend? But I can hear the Spanish with their pitchforks coming after you now. So it's nice knowing you. Jeanette, same question. How do you feel about Blanca Paloma? I said it splits the room. It divides opinion. Some people love it. Some people hate it. Some say it can win. Some say it's a complete overblown mess. What is your feedback on it?
Well, I have to be brutal as always, and I have to agree with Gustav. It was horrible. I could not listen to 3 minutes. There was just a lot of screaming going on. No, disaster for me. I agree, Gustav. We're like the new team here now. Awful, awful, awful. I cannot understand how it won. That's how bad I think it was. She looks great. She has a good voice, but that song just has to go. That's what I think about her. But just watching the Benidorm Fest, I just wanted to call it like the Latex and Leather Fest instead, because there was a lot of that going on. So I just was wondering, what am I watching now? Did I like go into some website I shouldn't be on? Because there was a lot of stuff going on. So initially, when I listened to the songs, my favorite song, this is going to shock you, was Megara with Arcadia. Oh, I loved it. So I went on YouTube and had to see the live. Yes, there she is. And I'm like, I'm going to listen to this on YouTube and see the live performance. Oh my bloody hell, what the fuck was that? She scared me. She scared me in 3 minutes. So now that was on my top. Seeing the live performance, rope. No. But I liked Agony. Good song, but my favorite was the Jose guy. I can't even pronounce the Spanish things, but I liked him. But it was a weird Benidorm Fest. But I think you maybe needed to be there to enjoy it live, because Benidorm is Benidorm. That's all I'm going to say. No slow-mo this year.
I mean, the crowd are like, they had the absolute time of their life, especially to Notch and Taylor. I mean, that crowd was like bouncing and the camera was bouncing along with it. And I was like, bloody hell, like they are like, is this a surprise winner? Because the crowd seemed to absolutely adore this camp 80s bubblegum explosion on the screen. It was campus tits. I loved it as well.
Yes, dysfunctional. Yeah, that's the word.
But I think that's like a big thing from the two Benidorm Fests. It's clear they put a lot more money into this year. The stage was bigger. They had a main stage and two separate stages. They had bigger acts. More well-known acts within Spain were competing this year. So like Agoné, Sharon. These are all like established acts. And yeah, the staging, we had about 3 cars, a literal wig removal, and like just a lot going on with staging. Like how many cars were there? I counted 3. There may have been more, which I just missed.
It's not going to help. This song is not going to go anywhere in the final. Just, I'm sure of it. Again, I'm going to bet my place in the panel if it has like a top 5 place in the final. Oh my God, I might be here next year.
So Sweden aren't vibing with it. Yeah, the UK seem to be at the minute. This is very interesting. Phil, Michelle, where do you sit with this? Apart from like saying the staging is basically being the floor to ceiling fringing, which should now be donated to every cat cafe in Spain, no doubt, and they'll have a whale of a time. What did you think of Blanca? Like, was this the right song that Spain should have picked last night?
Well, it wasn't my favorite, but I'll tell you what, it definitely stands out. It's not bland. It's one of these songs that you either love or hate, and those sort of songs always do better than the bland ones.
I think a song with clapping always goes down well, because you go, oh yeah, I like the clapping song.
I'm still trying to figure out if I like it or not. I think with the right staging, a bit more dramatic staging, a bit more impactful.
More dramatic?
No, a bit more impactful. It was good.
How much drama do you want?
A bit more. But I mean, everyone thought that...
You can tell he lives with me.
Everyone thought that Constructed wasn't going to go anywhere because nobody would get it. And the public did. Last year, we were all going British drama, and this could be the same. I think it could do well.
I love it when you're dramatic.
Well, I mean,
I liked it. I thought it had a bit of drama about it, and you're going to remember it. You're either going to love it or you hate it, and that is what you need in a good Eurovision song. You don't want a middle of the road. Yeah, this is all right. Hum along. You want to. I love it. I hate it. People that love it will vote for it. The people that hate it won't. But if you love it, you will vote for it. Middle of the road? No, this is not middle of the road.
Nobody votes for Blood.
I want to go to Spain. It's warm in May.
Having said that, my favourite was Megara, because that was like Harley Quinn meets Hattery.
I don't know. It was some sort of weird Star Trek thing going on.
It was good. It was good.
I knew you'd like that weird shit. But this was fantastic, and I think, oh God, right, you ready for a soundbite? I think this is top 5, and I've got a tenner on it.
And Michelle, you've just perfectly led me into my next question, like a perfect segue. Thank you. Because I was going to ask the panel, where do you see Blanca finishing at Eurovision? Is it a top 5? Is it a bottom 5? Is it mid-table? I will kickstart this. It's hard to say at this point, but I think it might just fall outside the top 10. And I say that because of the parallel, you love it or hate it. I think juries will appreciate it. I don't know which way the public are going to go with it. It could be like Victoria, where the judges really liked it. The public didn't vote for Tears Getting Sober, and I thought that was going to do great, but the public panned it. So I think it might just fall short of the top 10. I don't think it's going to do what Chanel did. And if it does, I will hold my hands up, because I didn't see Chanel getting 3rd place last year either. I have been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. But I'm going to say just outside the top 10 for Blanca this year. Gustav, where do you see this landing?
Well, personally, this should be dead last. But I think you're right, and just outside top 10, because people don't have as good of a taste as I do.
Jeanette, where do you think Blanca can finish?
I have to agree with my new mate, Gustav. In the bottom. I don't like it at all. Nothing appeals to it. No, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Ben, place your bets now. Where is the Spanish entry finishing in Liverpool?
It's got a chance of doing very well. So it's got a chance of doing very badly. It's one of those songs that I've got a very high spread for. Like, I'm not going to say, oh, it finishes 10th to 13th. This could finish 3rd or could finish 23rd very easily. I would understand either way. Remember that this year, the 100% televote in the semi-finals means there should be less jury songs in the final, and I expect this is much more of a jury song. That could help its chances, possibly. I do want to sidetrack slightly, because Spain, as a broadcaster, is obsessed with winning Eurovision. Be it the adult or the junior contest, they have been pushing it to levels that I don't think are really needed, especially for the new national final format. I hope whatever happens to the result, let's say it is a 23rd place and people don't get it, I hope the broadcaster focuses on Benidorm Fest, the number of hits, number of good performances that came out of that, because that brand has to keep going, because that brand is successful, that brand works, that brand is on an upward trajectory, whereas Melfest is going down.
Yeah, I do believe that Benidorm Fest is renewed until at least 2025. So there's national selection will carry on, and it is a new team who did it last year as well. And they've completely said revamped Spain's outlook on Eurovision, and they're so far doing a great job of it. Stuart, you love Blanca. You're not that excited she's going to be in Eurovision. You're probably going to try and hunt her down in Liverpool. But realistically, what can you see this song achieving? As Ben said, there's very little room for error. It's hard to gauge where it's going to land. But so this is why I'm asking.
I can't really give another answer other than what Ben's just said. It's exactly the same. I think it could be top 5. It could be top 3, or it could be bottom 3, or it could be somewhere in between. Nobody knows. We need to hear the other songs. But I do see the jury's placed this very, very high. I just don't know what the televote will do, because it'll either go one way or the other. There's no middle ground here. I think it's either a top 5 or a bottom 5. But either way, it's going to be a ride in Liverpool, that's for sure.
Oh, now I've had flashbacks with Raphael. Moving swiftly on. Phil, Michelle, Blanca, where's it going to finish?
Do you know what? I agree. I agree with you and Ben. I think it is the top 5 or bottom 5. It's a bit like France last year. I bloody loved it. I thought, this is brilliant, and then it did absolutely nothing. So, but I'm going to go top 5.
I mean, it's always difficult to say when there's so many songs still left to hear. But the only thing I would sort of say is it might be one that the public gets more than the juries. The same with Constrictor. The public liked Constrictor more than the juries did. So you never know. But it will stand out, that's for certain.
What number? Pick a number.
Oh, I'm going to get top 5, yeah.
Right, thanks.
Interesting. You were very bold in your prediction earlier, saying that Blanca could win the whole thing. Do you still think in 3 months' time she will be a contender for the victory?
I definitely do. I think it all depends on where she gets in the what song where she gets in the draw, sort of like where they place her. I think that she'll be possibly the winner. Personally, I think it's got that. I think the jury will love it. And I think the audience, enough of the audience will love it, that it will definitely be top 3.
Okay, so that's what our panel said. We will see what happens in May, but above all, well done, Blanca. Good luck in Liverpool. And well done, Spain, for a fantastic show. And I don't want to see your bank balancer flying God knows how many press out there and looking at them for a week. I'm just going to leave it at that. But you're clearly very invested to do that. And let's move on to our final topic of the evening. It is Melody Grand Prix. It finished last night. Alessandra took the win. Yeah, the girl who kicked off the entire thing. The song won week 1, then closes the final and wins it by over 95 points ahead of second place. She wins the televote and the jury comfortably. Alessandra, 20 years old, born and raised in Italy, moves to Norway last year, then does The Voice, doesn't get far, then comes to Eurovision. No, then goes to Melody Grand Prix, and is now going to Eurovision with Queen of Kings. Quite a bombastic, amazing song, if you ask me. Phil, Michelle, last week you said an off comment, Alessandra is the one you think will take it. Are you happy she is the one that's going?
Did it?
Oh,
yeah, you said last week you had Alessandra pinned to
No,
win it.
I'm only teasing.
Slapsticks then. No, but yeah, it's a good stump. I like it. The only thing I would say is it reminded me a bit of Genghis Khan. Remember Genghis Khan? It reminded me of that.
There's one for you. Hey, God, hello you to Eurovision. I thought I'd heard it before, and I was like a bit dismissive of it. But I've done a Sunday lunch today, and it was in my head all the way through. And I was like, so it's a stick in your head sort of song.
Yeah,
it's a bit of an earworm.
Yeah, I like it. It could be all right.
I didn't like it, but after cooking lunch, I do like it. So who'd have thought? So I think it's all right.
Now, there's an endorsement of a song you ever need. Just cook some food, and then you'll enjoy it. Gustav, Alessandra, what were your thoughts? Was she the worthy winner last night?
I have had a journey with this song. When we got the snippets, I was absolutely obsessed with it, and I thought this was going to be amazing. Then I heard the full song, and I was like, I am not sure anymore. And now I'm back to thinking it's absolutely amazing. And it's not because it's being played everywhere in Sweden right now, but it is. It's just one of those songs, I think. I did have other favorites in the final that I would rather have seen going to Eurovision, but I think this is a really, really, really good choice for Norway.
Okay, Jeanette, what are your feelings on Alessandra? As you said, like, she was pretty much unknown coming into this competition. Like, she done The Voice last year, didn't get very far compared to what we see from Voice to national final acts. But as I said, she clearly just wins it at a canter. Almost so easy, especially against the established names. And I don't really think the staging is going to change. Do you think that was like the perfect test run for Liverpool last night for her? And what do you think the song can do in Liverpool?
What an amazing evening it was in Trondheim, Norway. Shout out to MGP. You really nailed it, and it feels like you're taking over from Melodifestivalen. But, well, that's okay, because if you get songs like Alexandra's song, you're going to do very well. I am obsessed with her. It's like a fairy tale, like living in Italy. Oh, I'm moving to Norway. Oh, I'm going to Eurovision. This song is going to kill it in Liverpool. It's amazing. And I have to confess, I think I listened to it 20 or 30 times last night before I went to bed, over and over again. I can't sit still. You just want to be on the stage with her, and it's a good staging. She's amazing. The song has everything. This is a real contender for the win.
Okay, Ben, let's come to you. Obviously, you were a bit tied up with Benidorm Fest, but obviously you've heard all the songs that were in NGP. And obviously, Alessandra at the start has got phrases in Italian. She's got the chorus in Italian at the start of the song. And obviously, Italy are voting in her semi-final, which bodes well. Is the semi-final almost a formality for her at this point? Like, is she one you see will be in the final and say, how high can she get up that scoreboard?
100% possible win in the semi-final as well. the big elephant in the room here is how big of a hit this becomes for the contest. Alessandra won the jury quite convincingly last night. I don't know if there was a jury in the heats, if it would have won the jury even against Ulrika in the heats. I feel a little bit like with Satellite, Lena 2010. Good song, good winner. But I think part of its success, especially with the juries, was because it was already on that pathway to be a hit. And we talk in the song contest that juries love vocals. There's one thing jurors love even more, is that something's already a hit. Because if a song's already a hit, there's a subtle pressure to vote for the hit, because that's the one everyone's expecting. That's already been deemed quality. It's already in the charts. If Alessandra's momentum goes beyond the spiral Spotify daily streams into the real ones across the continent, jurors will not put this down. And this is a song that naturally would be leaning towards a televote anyway. If you can get yourself into a jury top 5, you've got a song that's got televote top 5 potential. I loved the introduction and the use of the Italian at the start. I thought that really set the tone nicely to this. Maybe a couple more tweaks. I would like a stronger ending, possibly. Something a bit more, not just the same chorus for the final time at that point. But yeah, this is the song that could do it. But I think its path to victory depends on the record label, depends on virality more than performance now. Oh, and maybe how we cut the auto-tune issue in Liverpool, but that's a different story.
That's the thing, I don't know if she was or how much auto-tune is being used, because you could definitely hear her voice throughout the song, unlike one other who was clearly just either using auto-tune or miming the entire song. That's neither here nor there. Tristan, let's come to you. You've said Blanca can win Eurovision, but obviously this has got international jury appeal because it won it, and it's got televote appeal. And as Ben said, if you can make the top 5 in each, you've got a contender there. Is she another contender for the win?
No, not for me. I mean, it was actually my 7th out of 9 last night. For me, it was all about Jonna. I thought Jonna could win it. He was fantastic. Electro Shanty. I've just not heard that before. Same as I haven't heard that electro flamenco that Spain had. And I think you need things that are new. And Jonna brought something new. Alessandra, for me, brought just like a rehash of all the other sort of banging tunes that we've had since Ruslana and the Turkish one that won Every Way That You Can. I mean, it's sort of like, it's exciting and a female dance on stage with a good voice, but nothing special. And I think we're looking these days for things that are special, that push the envelope, that are different. Jonna would have been different last night. I'm afraid this was not different for me. So yes, it will probably definitely get through to the final because of the televote, but I don't think it'll do better than mid-table on the Saturday night. Sorry.
Okay, I must admit, Alessandra wasn't my winner last night, but I can see why she won. The song is not a bad song at all, and she sings it incredibly. It's got a very arresting staging with the lights and a big spotlight on her with little flashes of light, and then the backing dancers coming in with the strobe lights. I think that's really impactful. Plus, they're topless, which isn't a bad thing. Let's be honest, it's not a bad thing. We're all shallow to a point. Let's admit it. Stuart. Alessandra, very confident girl, only 20 years of age, but she sells and performs that song like her life depends on it, and she can hit a whistle note. Surely this is all the hallmarks of a very good entry, and a very good entry Norway can get behind and support all the way to the top.
Yeah, absolutely. This is, without a shadow of a doubt, the most relatable Eurovision song that's been picked so far. There's not been many, but if you were to say there's one song that's been picked so far which looks like the most obvious Eurovision winner, it's this one. It will appeal to everybody. Everyone's going to love it. Everyone's going to be dancing to it in Euro Club. They'll be dancing to it in front of their televisions at home. The juries will love it. The televote will love it. I made the mistake with Kano a few years ago. I didn't think Kano would do as well as they did, and I regret that moment because I was so wrong. I now have corrected my moment, and I want to say I think this will do very, very well with the televote. And obviously, there's a load more songs to come, but right now I think this looks like the most obvious winner out of the songs we've got, and definitely going to do well, I think, with the televotes across all of Europe. So let's see. Norway always seems to pick a good song. Great national final this year. Bit of a weaker one last year. Great the year before. They've really upped their game this year, and they've come up with a great song to take to Eurovision. Well done to them.
Thank you, Stuart. And as we said, you need one good song, and Alessandra turned out to be that song. So best of luck to Alessandra in Eurovision. Hope you enjoy Liverpool and Norway. Let's see what happens with Queen of Kings. It's going to be interesting, but yeah, I think it's got a very good shot of easily top 5. If not, it's easily in the top 10. But it depends what comes between now and March. Right, we're going to do a quick little rundown of the best of the rest because we had Lithuania and Latvia taking place last night. So Phil and Michelle, they selected 5 more acts in Lithuania to go through to their final next week. Any of those 5 that stand out as a winner in 2 weeks' time?
I don't know what was going on.
Ruta Moore was my favourite, the cowboy in a phone box.
Oh, that was awesome. It was like, there's so many questions I'd like to ask about what the fuck was going on with why are you in a phone box sounding all echoey because you've got a microphone, then you come out.
With a cowboy
why are you dressed as a white, all dressed in white cowboy with this 80s banger, and then people on roller skates going, oh my God. I loved it. I absolutely bloody loved it.
That was the only one that went through that I guess I really liked. There's Petunia. It was just sat at the piano.
No, that was a dirge. I had to find out how you spelled dirge, especially for that.
The only thing that reminded me of that was I thought she was going to start singing Goodbye Ruby Tuesday at one point.
Yeah, it was shit. Il Senso was classical by numbers. It was head down, start, look at camera, walk forward.
It was like Il Divo.
Carry on.
Il Divo.
It was shockingly basic.
Gabriella Vangelis was all right, but
interpretive dance.
Yeah, there was a weird strand of hair on his face.
Oh God, it was really annoying. Yeah. That really got my tits.
And what was it?
That was brilliant. They had 3 people, right? They're all just having a dance. The music's going on. They're singing. Nobody that's there on stage is singing the bloody song. We're going, who's singing the song? Where are they singing the song? Are they in a corner because they have to be on stage? 2 minutes in, here we go. Like, go march on and carry on singing it. It's like, oh, it was mental, absolutely batshit crazy, and I loved every single minute of all of it.
But there was some that didn't go through that I quite liked as well.
Jesus.
What was it?
I don't know. Go on.
Alan Chico. It was just proper bonkers. I don't know what was going on.
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
It's absolutely brilliant. He had a big long blonde wig on. He had this big roby thing, like this, all dramatic coming on, stripping off bit by bit till he had like a corset jobby on and a big necklace and everything. It was shite, but wonderful.
And Joseph Una, who was like that was Elton John off Wish, wasn't it?
Oh, it was amazing. Yeah. It was absolutely amazing.
The vocals were a bit.
Do you know what? I watched Ireland on Friday night, and I wish I'd not bothered and saved myself for Lithuania because it was so much better.
Yeah.
You want mental, you want bizarre, you want a genre that you don't even know what genre it is because it's so out there. Lithuania is the lady for you. You want that. Yeah. It was brilliant. Who's going to win?
I think Ruta Moore.
I'm going mad cowboy with the 80s vibe. Yeah, is that who it is? Yeah. Oh my God, yes. Definitely, without a doubt.
It seems like you had a good time watching this.
Oh, yeah. It was the absolute best. Honest. Jeanette, go back, watch Lithuania. It was bonkers. It had absolutely, you name something, it was in there. And
I love bonkers. I need to see it. I have to watch that tonight.
Or we just wait to the final in 2 weeks' time and see 5 of those acts go absolutely batshit again. But we also had Latvia. Tristan, you sat through Supernova. I think one of the only few that did.
Yeah.
Any of the 10 that went through last night are contenders to win? Like, who do you think Latvia can win? Like, what are the 3 you think are contenders to win at the moment for Latvia?
Oh, the funny thing about Latvia is that, my favourites got through. The funny thing about Latvia is it was so much better seeing it live than hearing the songs in the studio. The songs I thought weren't very good in the studio just came to life on stage. And my favourite mean, it's not going to win because it didn't come that high in the semi-final. My favourite is that you said, I said, you hear. It was like a really strange song by, I have to get their name. It's got a number, 24th Avenue. And that was a really good sort of funky song, and the performance was absolutely crazy on stage. I've never seen anything like it. So that for me, that was brilliant. I mean, none of them probably going to get through to the final in Liverpool, but it was still a really entertaining show. And Lithuania, as Phil and Michelle said, I thought that was absolutely brilliant. And the only, I mean, Ruta, it's like Alison Moyet, had she been born in Vilnius, what would have happened? It was just a really sort of a lovely 80s throwback, but with a real, she really channeled Alison Moyet, I love Alison Moyet. And then you had a beautiful ballad by Petunia. It was great. It was just a great diversity. Again, that's what we want to see. My favourite, unfortunately, in Lithuania was Joseph. I want to live in a vacuum, live in a vacuum. I just love that song. It's so good. I've had it in my head all day. And that didn't get through. So that was the only down part of the night. But what a great show it's looking like in Lithuania. So I can't wait for that final. For 3 years running, Lithuania, for me, has been the best of the Baltics.
Thank you, Tristan. And just say for a bit more news that happened this week, we had Ireland select their songs today, now going with Wild Youth with We Are One after the public split decided once the juries had tied. And also Joke Out revealed their song Carpe Diem last night. And also Georgia selected their entry because the Voice Georgia concluded, and it's Ilu Hecinovai, who some people may recognise from Junior Eurovision where she won it back in 2011, and then also wrote this year's entry with Miriam Bagaveva as well. So she is very well known in Georgia, and she knows how to do Eurovision and win or place very highly. But that is everything for this evening. It's been a manic week in Eurovision, and it's only going to get more manic because I believe we've got 7 national finals all selecting their entries next week. It's 7 or 8. It's a bit crazy. I don't know what's going to happen. I hope you've got about 4,000 monitors glued to your wall. Good luck, guys. But it is time to say goodbye. Thank you to everyone who has been watching. We do really love and appreciate all of you. A big thank you for Ben, who has flown back from Spain and then jumped onto this call. We do really appreciate that. And I hope you have a good nap now.
Yeah, I've had the issue of like waking up at Swedish time and going to bed at Spanish time the last week. It's a terrible combination.
I don't even know what that means, but it sounds horrible. Big thank you to that all the way in Malmö.
Thank you so much for having me. And all the love to Alessandra. You're number one.
Big thank you to Gustav. I will remember next time you're on the show, I promise.
Somehow I don't believe you, but yeah, it was a great show and I can't wait to see you again.
I wouldn't believe me either. I'm full of shit these days. Big thank you for Tristan. I hope you enjoy the weird and wonderful world of Lithuania and Latvia next week again.
Oh, I will. I know I will. That's what I know. I'll definitely be watching Lithuania live, probably.
And I'm pretty sure the people who were there with you, if Phil and Michelle, if it's anything like it was tonight. Thank you again for coming on, guys.
That's all right. That's all right.
Yeah, we'll be doing San Remo next week.
My
We'll
God.
be doing the San Remo special, so check that out
It's
as well.
just, it goes on and on.
Oh, I love San Remo. Love San Remo. Everyone loves San Remo.
Nobody loves
That's a good point, actually. If you are watching San Remo live, we normally go live straight after the final finishes, and the panel is normally drunk. So if you just want a bit of a God knows what for 45 minutes and the host forgetting how to end a live show like last year, come join us in San Remo next week. Yeah. And a big thank you to my co-host Stuart. Thank you for looking after the comments and steadying the ship, whilst I have just been rambling for the past hour.
No, it's been all good. Thank you, Elliot, and thanks to everyone in the chat room, keeping the chat going. It's been a lot of fun actually, and we're properly in Eurovision season. Lots to come. Stay tuned on ESC Fan TV.
Oh, absolutely. 7 songs down, another 30 to go, and God knows how many more songs in national finals. But until then, we will see you next week, guys. We'll figure out what we're talking about and let you know when we know. Until then, have a good one, and we'll see you all soon. Bye.